G'day folks, welcome back to the channel for episode number 9 of our cold Spellbreaker playthrough, where I've done a little bit of shopping in between episodes. So level 35, and I know I'm 36, but level 35 is when you get access to items like this. This is the respected reputation item helmet from Devil's Crossing. And I've also gone ahead and bought the Devil's Cuirass as well. Now this is not particularly standout for this class, however, everybody needs health, everybody likes offensive ability, everybody likes PS and Chaos resistance, and the +2 to Amarastas is, I'm not using that, so that's not there. Regardless of that though, this is a very nice chest. It is an upgrade for our old one, although losing that insight proc is... I would rather not, but anyway, we're going to use that one. Get some more resistances. I'm looking specifically for chaos resistances since we are about to head into the right side of Homestead, and that is a heavily chaos infested area. I've also bought the Restless Remains, which is a glove component from the Rovers. And they also sell the Runestone, which I will probably use at some point. This is kind of like one of the cheaper, more expensive components, if that makes sense. Aether Crystals, 3 of, and then Wardstone, each Wardstone needing 3 Aether Crystals as well. So this is basically 12 Aether Crystals worth of stuff, plus about 15 or so thousand bits. And in exchange you get Aether Res, Ellie Res, and more damage to anything ethereal. Decent kind of low-end blueprint component. Good to have. The Restless Remains go in your glove slot. They have a lot of casting speed, a lot of energy, and some attack damage converted to health. Now, Trozan Skyshard here does not do weapon damage, so you can't leech with it unless you have an item that says specifically that it applies to Trozans. Generic attack damage converted to health like that does not apply to Trozans. Electra's also, unless it's added by one of these weapons, doesn't have weapon damage. No, it doesn't, so you can't leech from that either. So basically that attack damage converted to health more or less does nothing. You could maybe... No, I don't think these do weapon damage either. So unless you had something like the Lethal Assault on Amarastas, this would allow you to leech, but nothing in here, I believe, has weapon damage. Yeah, Devastation doesn't. Calidor's? Calidor's does, but we're not using that. So, that will be decent just for the mana and such, but I think we'll keep the Spellwoven Threads for now. Again, everybody likes offensive ability, and the extra burn, or frostburn damage is pretty good too. From Homestead, I picked up the Sanctified Bone. This one is middlingly expensive for a component. 4 Chthonic Seals of Binding will not be expensive later. For this period of the game, though, this is a very expensive component. If you have 4 Chthonic Seals of Binding, you will need all 4 of them for a quest and a devotion shrine coming up in the Bloodgrove, so you actually need 8 before you can consider getting one of these. If you have 8, firstly, why are you cheating at this point? Chances of you having even 1 at this point is very low. Having 8, yeah, you're not going to have that unless you're transferring items from other characters, at which point you probably have access to much better components as well. Regardless, this is a very good head and chest component if you are fighting chaos enemies, so Chthonics specifically. It does say it does extra damage to undead, which is surprising. I expected the extra damage to Chthonics, but yeah, and another good blueprint to have. And then I also picked up these boots because, as I said, coming into the right-hand side of Homestead, you're going to have a lot of chaos damage coming in. But beyond that, Chaos and Aether and Elemental on one item, along with health and move speed, because it's boots. These Harvest Footpads are my go-to boots for just about every character I play. They are just generically good. They're not amazing boots, but they are really good. So I'm going to use those. And that bumps our Chaos Res up to 63. It's not capped, but it's not the end of the world either. For now, armor is still relevant for us, so we will keep using that. Later, armor will become less and less relevant. These ward stones, I would like to replace them with Aether Souls or Black Tallow, which we don't have yet. But we do still need the bleed resistance, and everybody loves move speed, right? What are we up to? 135. Okay, with all that waffling out of the way, let's go ahead and get on with the right side of Homestead. So, our mission is to clear out the mill, find the captured farmers in the Blood Grove, find the Death's Vigil, also in the Blood Grove, and this guy right here gives a quest to collect a bunch of basically dog tags from his soldiers. So let's get on that. The procs are very nice on this character. Definitely need some more, and probably want to think about swapping out, starting now-ish. We'll have access to Fallen Skies procs, which is going to add... It's basically one of these little missiles. One meteor. Identical to that one. Which would be good. Okay. I don't know if something was draining our energy there, or if we just spent it all. I think we may have spent it all. Okay. Ranger's Cask. These gloves, yeah, we're gonna use those. Yep. So that elemental damage is split 3 ways between fire, lightning, and cold, so that's actually 6% damage for us, which is not amazing, but the frostburn damage is very nice. Casting speed is okay. Skill disruption protection is pretty good, and the elemental seal proc there is really nice. Unfortunately, it is when hit and not on attack, like the ice spike on Harud's is. But I think we have to. What resistance has changed there? We lost some pierce and we gained some nothing, so that's always fun. And what we got available here? Consecrated wrappings, we're going to use those. This is entirely for the chaos resistance on that. That's the only reason I'm using those. How much is the mana cost of this? 144. Okay. So I think we had our energy drained by something there. Would be my guess. It is a guess though. Alright, 1 seal of binding. That is our devotion shrine sorted. We do need 3 more for a quest from the Death's Vigil, which we will want to do because the Death's Vigil has some nice components for leveling. They will eventually be completely outclassed by the witch cults, but for the leveling portion of the game they are quite good. They also have some good faction gear for leveling. I think they have the +1 Arcanist belt. Let's find out. I think they do. I will recover the remains, yep. What do you got to sell? Nothing yet, but... Okay. So, +1 Arcanist, yes. So Death's Cord there. The Arcane Blast is kind of meh. We don't really focus on fire or aether damage, but it is another proc, and +1 to Arcanist is really nice. I would probably take that if all it had was +1 to Arcanist. The Cold Flash here is pretty nice, but requires you to get hit. And then they just have better versions of it. I think the Coven has a better one, so we'll probably only use this until we get the required reputation to buy the one from the Coven. But like I said, for now that is pretty good. Looking at pants, I definitely need to get rid of these pants. I think these at the next level are pretty good, but yeah, I need to get rid of those pants. Anyhow, let's continue, and 10 minutes into the video, finally get into the Blood Grove. So in the Blood Grove here, we are looking to get the Devotion Shrine, which will be easy. We're looking to rescue the captured farmers, which again will be relatively easy. And we want to... what was the other thing? Oh yeah, these dead bodies have Black Legion insignias on them. Everybody stop. Alright. Okay, this Forsaken is probably fine with 70% resistances. If you've got like less than, I would say, 40, don't click on shrines. Same with Vitality. These are Chthonics, which you would think would only do Chaos, but they also do large amounts of Vitality. And a few other things occasionally, but if your Vitality and Chaos Res aren't like, I would say probably 50% or better, don't click on these, you will die. Okay, so he did hit me, which is very nice. Bone Shard Lacerator, two-handed axe, no good. Alright. Don't think any of the rest of this is going to be any good. I did see a formidable item, and formidable is Fizz Res, which is nice. Is that the boots? No. Chest. 5% physical resistance. Decent amount of armor lost, and not really anything I care to have on that aside from the physical resistance. So we will ignore that one. Here is our farmers, who we're going to send back to Homestead. Let's pick up another Black Legion insignia. If you are so inclined, you can farm 15 of these in normal difficulty, chuck 10 of them in the bank, and then you will be able to just turn in the elite and ultimate quest as soon as you get to the point of being able to accept the quest. You'll notice Bolvar went down very easily. Our damage, when we can just stand and tank, our damage is very nice. It's the question, of course, is can you stand and tank? So some enemies you will be able to, some enemies you need to run away from, and I guess the only way to find out really is to have experience with the game, or to die a couple of times finding out. Okay, let's go and get our Devotion Shrine here. Alright, and energy is becoming a little bit of a concern. Ectoplasm, head, rings, amulets, and medals. I think at this point 3 energy per second is probably not a huge amount. Where do we see energy regen? 7. Okay, that is actually a decent amount extra. It may be worth putting points into spirit for a little while. Though having said that, we have 272 spirit and we're only getting an extra 2.2 flat. Don't know, we need to do something about that energy though. A ring with energy regen on it would be nice. This one, if it had some resistances on it, would be very good. Because everybody likes having enough offensive ability to actually do crits. Right, what were we doing? Finishing... No, we weren't. We were going to go and get Turtle. Let's go do that. That's right, because I was feeling a bit squishy, I think in the Bug Hive. But the Tortoise is just a good all-round devotion to have.
Let me clear your mind of
So,
regret.
we'll rip these out, and I'll take my blue point back as well. And then we'll take Tortoise, so health, health and defensive ability, health and defensive ability, percent health, defensive ability, and physical resistance, and this proc on, let's put on Maven Sphere. This is a 500 damage absorption. If I ever fall below 50% health, I just get a shield for 500 health, which, I mean, it's a tier 1 devotion that I haven't leveled up yet. That'll quickly go up. I think at max level it's like a 6,000 point shield. I wouldn't say it's the biggest of big deals, but it is very nice defensively. Cold lightning and elemental resistance, nope. I think the rings I have are probably some of the better items on the character at the moment. Alright, let's, you know what, I don't want that. I do want that. I don't think we're going to use this, honestly. I think the bonuses on Radliths are just too good, however. This is what we're going to be using at the end, and it does have a very good rare affix. So maybe we'll hang on to it for a bit. Elextras will definitely fall off later on, so we will have to swap away from it, or at least not focus quite so much on it, if that makes sense.
I can't do that yet.
Alright, so we're heading north now. We're going to get the Bloodgrove Riftgate, and I have all of the amulets I need, but I may as well pick this one up. Since we're going to be here anyway. There are 2 quests available on the right-hand side of the Bloodgrove. I usually skip them just because they're kind of out of the way. One of them is to rescue and or condemn a witch to be burned at the stake, or, you know, you can rescue her if you so desire. And the other one is a ghost in a cave who you have to spend dynamite to get access to. Where am I going? As I said, I'm not going to do those. I am, however, going to go back to my Riftgate because we didn't find Malkadar's remains. So let's go do that. He's probably up here. I remember I did see a star on the map. May as well get that Legion insignia. And that's going to be Malkadar's remains there. There we go. So our next mission, should we choose to accept it, and we will, is to get 3 Chthonic Seals of Binding. And the best way to get those is to just not turn this in yet and keep going, just push forward. When we get into Graver's Mill, and specifically in the mill, there'll probably be 1 or 2 dropped there. And then if we need to, we can run up Darkvale Village, and there'll be a ton of them in there potentially. There's a ton of them, the guys who drop them. I can't promise you're going to actually get them to drop. So, we're in the Graver's Mill area. You want yellow names. Yellow names will drop you the stuff.
I don't have enough energy.
Out of energy again. This could be a problem. Alright. And next one in here. I was a little bit worried that the Trozans would just hit the roof and do nothing. Unfortunately, doesn't believe in roofs here. Alright, Forsaken, again, if you don't have good Vitality and Chaos Res, don't do this. Alright, level 37. We got a Blood of Chthon, which is a good drop. And Sanctuary. is okay as well. I don't think any of this stuff is actually going to be used. However, so a little bit of energy regen on that wouldn't go astray. Right, these pants, I kind of have to use them just because of the extra armor. Having, what, 200 extra armor is really hard to say no to. It will lower my Aether resistance, which is not great, and losing +2 to Maven Sphere is also not ideal, but the armor increase is just too good. Let's go get our Silk Swatch back. Again, if you're playing hardcore and you're playing along, it's definitely worth keeping items like this. Instead of melting it, just make another Silk Swatch. I'm never going to use those again though, so it gets melted. Right. So heading north from here, there may be another shrine. This area particularly is, I think it's 3 different shrine groupings. So if you know where to look, you can get a lot of shrines very, very quickly. It does look like the other ones are not here so much. Let's pick that up. Where'd the guy with the star go? Here he is. Okay, everybody stop that. Another shrine potentially over here. Also down here by the mill, you can kind of walk around above a river. There's a hidden shrine down here. There's this shrine that we already got. There's a shrine here as well. So this area potentially could have 3 shrines. There's another one spawn point just over here. In this little sticky outy bit right here. And yes, sticky outy bit is the technical term. We hit 37, which we are done now with Nightblade, although, again, more points in Shadow Dance is definitely not a bad idea. You can also get a rare affix on gear, which is, I think, of the Shadow Dancer, or something like that, which will give you more chance to avoid melee and projectiles. Again, good to have for sure, but for now, let's go ahead and keep heading up towards Star Pact. So I'm specifically targeting the glowy guys, more or less. Anything with a yellow name you want to kill. I mean, anything in general is worth XP, but let me see here. There's one. We want that. So these guys being white names generally are not going to drop what we want. What are we looking for? That guy had a yellow name. Void Callers. That's the one. Okay. Total shell rank 2. We're now up to a 700 damage absorption shield. And that can trigger every 8 seconds. So if you get low, it'll trigger. You can, maybe you have the ghoul behind it, or maybe you just use a potion. Can heal you back up, and then you run around for a bit. 8 seconds later, you can get the shield again. It's definitely a very nice shield. And we are definitely having issues with mana. Alright, we got the lucky spawn. This dynamite is always here, and this treasure trove is always in this village somewhere. We got the close spawn, which is obviously good. Magistrate sensor. Not for us. Remember I was talking about shrines? Or totems, sorry. There can be a totem here. Just in this building here can be another one of the locations for the treasure trove. Let's go ahead and grab these books. Everybody loves XP, right? This particular house just here is another treasure trove location. Good thing about this point in the game is you have piles and piles and piles of energy potions, so we can just use those while we wait for a solution. Potentially devotion-based solution could work. This house is also another location where the treasure trove could be, and if you haven't found it by here, you missed one of the locations, go back. Alright, before I go in here, so there is a desecrated shrine here. You can see it's a fight shrine. You don't want to do this until you have killed the boss that's just over here. So let me go ahead and use all of those. Now Zarya is probably the first of the really big you need chaos or you just die kind of bosses. There's two of them, I guess three if you include the end boss of the base game. Bloodbound ointments here. If you don't have one and you need one, what you can do, you can come back to Homestead. And then if you did what I told you to back in Act 2, and sided with the Zarya Redden here, you can potentially buy them here. If you didn't do that, then you can not buy them here. So if you extort him, he'll be here, but he won't sell you the potions. And obviously if you side against him, you'll have to kill him, so he won't be here at all. So you can just reset his shop by leaving. So you stand somewhere else, rift somewhere else, count to 5 or 10. 10 to be safe, 5 if you're in a hurry, and then you can go back. I promise I'm only going to show this once, because it does take a bit of time. You can go back and his shop will have reset, he'll have 2 new potions for you. I didn't count to 10, didn't leave him long enough. You'll just have to take my word for it, I promise it works. So that's one way to get them. The other way is there is a blueprint for them, you can craft them if you have the blueprint. But yeah, if you don't have decently high chaos res, neck a potion, find some way of getting chaos resistance, or the other thing you can do is just don't fight her. You can just walk straight into Darkvale Gate and there's a Rift Gate on the other side of the door. You don't actually have to kill her. However, it is a really bad idea to try and do this shrine while she's alive. So, let's go ahead and kill her. The thing you want to watch out for is her crystals. These ones, you can kill them, or you can just kill her. If you don't have enough damage to kill her before those crystals fire at you, you can either kill the crystals or you can run away. So the crystals were here. If you get to about here, then they can't reach you. If they fire off, even with fully maxed out resistances, they are going to hurt. And if you have no resistances, they will kill you from full life to dead in one hit. So just be aware of that and adjust accordingly. Let's go ahead and get this shrine. Okay, one more devotion point. Now again, I want the behemoth, which means we're going back into Sailor's Guide. The other thing we could do, and this is probably not a bad idea, the issue being you have to bind it to a skill. It's not just any attack, it's one skill specifically. The Dryad here is a pretty good heal for people who are not using weapon damage to leech. The minus spirit required for weapons and jewelry is also good. If it was offhands as well, that would be great. I thought this had energy leech somewhere, but apparently it doesn't. But that's fine. The eel is actually something I will consider taking as well. We do want blues. What is our movement speed at the moment? Run speed 128, okay. So actually I'm going to take the eel instead of the Sailor's Guide. Because this has 2% chance to avoid melee, and then 2% chance to avoid projectiles, it's basically like getting well, at this point 1 level, but later on 2 or 3 levels in Shadow Dance. And that is one of the kind of layers we are using to defend ourselves. Alrighty, so we're into Darkvale Gate. If you don't have Chaos Resistance by this point, if you are relying on potions, go get yourself a pair of Harvest Foot Pads. If you need Chaos Resistance and your shoulders are kind of meh, then come back to Cronley's Cave and kill the fire guys. Their shoulders have between like 20 and 30% Chaos Resistance on them. You do not want to do Darkvale Gate with less than 50 and preferably capped resistances. With that said, though, this will be the end of episode 9, so thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye for now.